My video is titled How Ukraine and Russia Conflict Will Have an Effect on the Economy. This book that I picked up 2-3 weeks ago gave some insights on what will occur in our economy and what has occurred. This book, Why We Want You to Be Rich, which gives some insights from Donald Trump and Robert. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I know Robert K, to be exact, wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. The book goes on to talk about that people feel entitled. They get upset with the rich because they feel like the rich they feel like they withhold information. Then it talks about the schools not teaching money management. When it got to that part, I love to read. I know in neighborhoods, the library is within walking distance. Some neighborhoods, and then some neighborhoods you have to drive. Unfortunately, I don't see the school system. I would say public school, because charter and private school, I know they operate differently. And college, they're more prone to prepare you for the real world. But I don't see the public schools teaching money management. If they do, it's like limited. My thing is, if you have a cell phone, number one, you could go on YouTube and learn money management. Number two, you could pick up a book and learn how to manage your money and how to invest and save. Now there's cryptocurrency out, Bitcoins, like there is free information. So what you don't get in schools or from your parents, you could get that from the book. So we're going to end that excuse right there. Now, it even talks about for chapter 4, which the title for chapter 4 is How to Make Yourself Rich. So it talks about everyone has money problems. If you want to make yourself rich, solve problems. Because usually when people become millionaire and billionaires, it's because they saw a need or a problem, they were able to solve it. That's how Amazon came about. They have Prime, so you could get your packages within 2 days, whereas FedEx and the rest of them, you're waiting for like 5 days to a week. So the rich solve problems. Identify a problem creates the opportunity for creating solutions. Then it goes on about that America is in trouble if gasoline costs $5 a gallon at the pump, but if you're earning $10 an hour, then 5 gallon will take food from your family. He went on to say, this is Donald speaking, oil affects everything in our economy, and the problem is we're running out. Prices will only go higher. So now, I try not to make what goes on outside of America affect my mind, but unfortunately with the Russia and Ukraine, that affects us because it has an effect on our stock market, and food prices are already high. So just imagine the oil. Now you're going to have to pick between buying groceries and putting oil in your vehicle. Then it goes on to say, Rich Dad's explanation was a simple one. So this is from Robert's point of view. He said, when the price of energy goes down, our wealth goes up. The equation looks like this. And for most people, when the price of energy goes up, our wealth goes down. Then Trump says, Roberts and I message is with proper financial education and planning, you can ride out the turbulence of what is happening in our financial world today. And through this education, you can become rich by finding ways to solve the problems. Yes, so picking up a book will and learning to be self-taught will go wonders, because our government and a lot of politicians are not going to teach you. Because let me tell you something. And so with mayor and presidents, they only serve like 4 to 8 years. During that time, I highly doubt they can meet the needs or the demands of everybody in their community or state or country, or in this country alone. So that means we would have to seek resources to help us or gain more understanding. Because let me tell you something, it's sad to say, but politicians make a lot of money, they do a lot of fundraising, and in order for them to pass anything, they have to go through people like the president. It has to go through Congress before he could sign anything or say yes. So if they say no, it's out of his control. That's number one. So if you're going to sit there and wait for a politician that has to go through certain channels in order to get a yes and no, you're better off being the change you want to see in the world. My advice to people is, we already went through a recession. We already went through a pandemic, and we're still suffering the effects of that pandemic. And then we may have a crisis or a war that might occur. If you haven't earned a degree, and notice that I said a degree because there's some people that try to earn 2, 3 degrees, or a trade, it would be in your best interest to learn a trade, or take it a step further, learn cryptocurrencies, stocks. I have a few stocks, but I'm about to take the risk and the leap of faith to do day trading. Nothing is guaranteed. Printing money, eventually the money is going to lose its value. So with that being said, spending money on things you don't need and you want, that's not going to help you. Especially if you have financial debt such as student loans, credit card, and you have to pay a mortgage. It would be your best bet to have something else to fall back on. I'm a 90s baby. Retirement is the age, what I believe, 65 to 67. I have a copious amount of years left. I highly doubt, and keep in mind, when you work, we put money into Social Security. I highly doubt there will be any Social Security left for us. So then there's 401k or other investments. Hey, you may have to invest in real estate. I created a portfolio with Diversity Fund where they would prefer you to put $500 every week, invest, I should say, or every 2 weeks. I invested $500 right now. I have a property that I own in North Carolina. I put the money in the account. They move my money around into different properties, up and coming properties, and then I don't touch the money for 5 years and whatnot. Then I have extra money coming in. Yes, it's 5 years, but hey, at least I have money coming in. So it would be in your best interest to educate yourself and don't wait on rich people, because some of these rich people are like these people that get rich quick schemes. Usually you have to pay for those. And then two, you have to have at least $2,000 plus money invested to even get a return. So if you don't have that, then your best bet is to start saving now. And let's just say you have income tax money coming in. Take a portion of that income taxes and find a way to invest it. Don't use it on sneakers or clothes or whatnot, when you could go to the Goodwill, or you could wear your clothes for extra 2 to 5 years until it gets rips or just looks worn out. But there's just certain things we do not need to spend our money on. When you go grocery shopping, you may have to buy food in bulks if you don't do food stamps. And let me tell you something. Those that are on welfare, you might as well get off because whew, I was a welfare recipient. Welfare decided to cut me off July through January, July of 2021, and then January of this year. So yes, eventually that is going to come to an end. Or what's going to happen is you can't be on welfare for 20 plus years like it was years ago. Sooner or later, you're going to have to be able to be self-sufficient. Or at least if you're going to get welfare, just get like Medicare, Medicaid, or food stamps, and maybe childcare, because those are expensive. Everything else you should be able to provide for or have money saved up so that you can pay daycare if your childcare gets cut off, or if you want to send your child to after school. After school is not free. Yes, but investing, you're gonna have to do it, and sometimes you're just gonna have to go with a leap of faith. It's scary, but these rich people, they're not. They do pay taxes, but they have loopholes. Unfortunately, the middle class is shrinking. Sooner or later, there won't be no middle class. It's either you high class or you poor. And even if they give you the information, a lot of times you could give people the information and they'll still find an excuse not to better themselves. So you're better off educating yourself or surrounding yourself with people that's going to motivate you. And notice I said motivate you, not baby you or do everything for you. So we do need to get out of that entitlement of, yes, welfare is there, let me take advantages, or let's see if the government will give more stimulus, because all of that is temporary. As time go on, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to have left for your children if you have? And if you don't have any children, because there's some that don't have any children and they're struggling with finances. So it's like, what are you going to do when you reach older? What are you going to do when it's going to be expensive for you to even pay medication because your insurance doesn't cover everything and you have to still pay copay? Like, all of that stuff you have to take into effect. So thank you for listening.